In today's video, you will hear some scary scientific discoveries that most of the public is unaware of. If you like my content, do like and subscribe. I am creating content to try to raise funds for my dad's treatment, so if you want to support his ongoing battle, the GoFundMe link is in the description section below. Thank you so much for being here. And now, let's get started. Number 1. Supergonorrhea is resistant to the vast majority of powerful antibiotics, including fluoroquinolones and macrolides. Neisseria gonorrhea is constantly mutating, developing resistance to antibiotic treatments. There have been multiple reports of cases in countries like Australia and England. Number 2. Many people may be silent carriers of mad cow disease and won't know for another decade or more. The outbreak of mad cow disease in the 1980s-1990s was caused by cows being fed the remains of other animals. People who ate contaminated beef consumed prions, a type of protein that can destroy the human brain. It's believed that many individuals may still carry prions, but won't show symptoms of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease or bovine spongiform encephalopathy, BSE, until 10 to 50 years after consuming the infected meat, due to its long incubation period. Prions can also be transmitted through blood transfusions, which is why many UK citizens from that time are still prohibited from donating blood. Once symptoms such as cognitive impairment, memory loss, and hallucinations begin, death typically follows within months. There is currently no cure or treatment. Number 3. The world has 70% fewer insects, on average, than it did 40 years ago, signaling an impending silent spring. While some might not mind a decrease in pests, those aren't the insects we should be worried about. Pollinators are vital to many crops, and we could soon face serious problems with our food supply. In recent years, China has had such significant issues with apple and pear crops that in some regions, farmers have had to hand-pollinate them. Insects also form the foundation of many food webs, and their disappearance will have ripple effects on higher trophic levels, threatening entire ecosystems. Number 4. An abdominal aortic aneurysm is an aneurysm that occurs in the large artery running through the abdomen. It's often asymptomatic and typically only discovered by accident during routine checkups for other issues. The scary part is that if it ruptures, it can cause rapid blood loss, and the patient may die within a short period of time. While anyone can develop an AAA, it's more common in people with conditions like Marfan syndrome and those who smoke, have high blood pressure, or high cholesterol. Number 5. There is a known link between untreated hearing loss and cognitive decline, including dementia. Keyword: untreated. If you previously had normal hearing but notice it slipping, it's important to see an ENT specialist and an audiologist. Hearing aids have improved dramatically in function and aesthetics in the past decade, and prices have come down. US veterans can typically get hearing aids covered by the VA. For those who have had hearing loss since childhood, this concern is different. Many have adapted by learning sign language or using hearing aids, cochlear implants, to maintain communication and avoid isolation. The issue here is really about the relationship between communication and cognition, not just the physical ability to hear. People who don't address hearing loss can experience communication challenges, which in turn may affect their cognitive abilities. Number 6. The overuse of antibiotics has contributed to the rise of antibiotic-resistant superbugs. At the same time, the diversity of microbes within the human body has drastically decreased, particularly in first world countries. This reduced microbial diversity is linked to a rise in allergies and gastrointestinal diseases. As we continue to overuse antibiotics and antibacterial, antiviral products, the biodiversity of our microbiome declines, making it easier for superbugs to invade. A diverse microbiome plays a critical role in protecting us from infections. With a rich variety of resident microbes, your body's natural defenses are better equipped to fight off harmful pathogens. Instead of focusing solely on killing bacteria, we need to shift toward promoting and supporting healthy bacteria, which are essential for overall well-being. Number 7. The Higgs boson, hypothesized decades ago, was discovered through experiments at the Large Hadron Collider, and its real-life discovery confirmed that it is responsible for giving mass to particles. However, there is a non-zero chance that a Higgs boson could drop to a lower energy state. Due to the law of entropy, this lower energy state is more stable and preferred, if attainable. The issue arises because a low energy Higgs boson would set off a chain reaction, causing other Higgs bosons to drop to a lower energy state as well. When this happens, the Higgs boson can no longer give mass to particles. This would have catastrophic universal implications, as mass would cease to exist. Theoretically, this process could create a scenario where the universe, as we know it, simply vanishes. The event would propagate at the speed of light, much like an expanding void, with large Higgs bosons infecting others as they spread. While it wouldn't be instantaneous like a Thanos snap, it would still result in the gradual disappearance of everything, erasing the universe at the speed of light. Number 8. A genetically modified bacteria that could have possibly wiped out a lot of crops and plant life was almost commercially released into the environment. Fortunately, a researcher decided to do one more test in the lab before it was used in production. Found out it killed all the wheat seedlings, and she destroyed the remaining stock of it. Number 9. STDs like herpes, which cannot be cured, can be transmitted through skin contact, not just through sexual activity. Interestingly, about 1 in 6 people carry the virus, and many are unaware of it. Another important point is that neonatal herpes can be life-threatening to newborns, so it's crucial for expectant parents to take care and get regular checkups. It's also worth noting that herpes isn't always an STD. There are 2 types: herpes simplex, virus 1, HSV1, and herpes simplex virus 2, HSV2. HSV1 typically causes cold sores, while HSV2 is more often associated with genital herpes. However, both types can cause sores in either region. And while we're on the topic, if you ever notice a cluster of tiny, tingly, and itchy bumps on your eyelid that burn for several days, seek medical attention immediately. It could be a cold sore on your eyelid, also known as ocular herpes. If left untreated, ocular herpes can lead to permanent vision loss. Number 10. The star Betelgeuse, located in the Orion constellation, might be on the verge of going supernova. Astronomers have known for a while that it's nearing the end of its life. But soon in astronomy terms could mean tomorrow or even 200 years from now. Betelgeuse is a veritable star, meaning its brightness changes over time. However, it recently became dimmer than we've ever observed, raising curiosity and speculation. While no one is 100% sure what's happening, if Betelgeuse does go supernova, it won't cause any harm to Earth. Our satellites and other technology would be fine, thanks to the protective solar wind. The biggest impact would be the lack of night for a while, possibly weeks, since the supernova would be so bright it could turn night into day. This could seriously disrupt animals and ecosystems that rely on regular cycles of light and darkness. Number 11. Artificial General Intelligence, AGI, refers to a digital computer that surpasses humans in all cognitive tasks. Humans, shaped by evolution, have developed a general learning algorithm running on a slow biological platform. Our input-output processes, like talking, typing, and reading, are relatively inefficient. However, if we manage to replicate that algorithm in silicon, i.e., on a computer chip, it's likely that IE would achieve superhuman intelligence within days, possibly even hours. The intelligence gap between humans and Aggie could be comparable to the gap between humans and a mosquito. At that point, the danger doesn't necessarily stem from malice, but from competence. As physicist Max Tegmark explains, the real risk with artificial general intelligence isn't malice, but competence. A superintelligent AI will be extremely good at accomplishing its goals. And if those goals aren't aligned with ours, we're in trouble. The development of Aggie could reshape every aspect of life, society, and technology. Many top experts predict that Aggie could emerge within the next 10 years, fundamentally altering the world as we know it. Number 12. Bubonic plague is commonly found in prairie dog populations in the United States. In fact, handling rodents is responsible for nearly all outbreaks, with about a dozen people infected each year in America. However, thanks to modern medicine and effective quarantine procedures, the disease is no longer lethal and outbreaks can typically be contained. Since the 1300s, the plague has evolved significantly. Older diseases often become less effective as their potential hosts develop some level of resistance. If you have European or Asian ancestry, it's likely that your ancestors encountered the plague and possessed genetic traits that made them more resistant to weather. By being less likely to contract the disease, or by having a higher survival rate once infected, these traits may have been passed down to you. Number 13. Our immune system is incredibly effective at its job, but it also carries inherent dangers. B cells and T cells have the potential to become self-reactive, meaning they can mistakenly target the body's own tissues. While there are mechanisms in place to eliminate these self-reactive immune cells, some can slip through the cracks, leading to autoimmunity. To mitigate the risk of autoimmunity in critical areas of the body, such as the eyes, genitalia, and brainless regions, are designated as immune privileged. This means that immune cells are largely restricted from entering these sites. One of the most alarming implications of this immune privilege is that certain infections can exploit these areas. In Ebola survivors, the virus has been known to persist in immune-privileged sites, potentially leading to reinfection later on. For instance, there have been cases where Ebola was found in a survivor's eye, resulting in a noticeable change in eye color. Additionally, the virus can hide in the genitalia, where it may be transmitted as a sexually transmitted disease to partners. Number 14. The accessibility of gene editing technology is alarming. Today, protocols, literature, and materials for genetic modification are readily available, often from unregulated production facilities in Asia. For instance, I source my phytohormones from there. This means that with some free time, around $5,000 to $10,000, and a strong motivation, a determined individual could potentially create something incredibly dangerous. While it might take numerous attempts, possibly hundreds, within a week, there's a real risk that they could eventually succeed. To date, no country has developed effective protocols for shutdown or containment of such creations. About a year ago, I informed someone in the anti-terror division about this issue. I shared my experience of modifying brewer's yeast through cold shocking in a suspension with wild-type yeast DNA to craft new beers. I emphasized that this technique could be applied to a wide range of microorganisms. I was invited to give a lecture to help the anti-terrorism team understand how biochemical warfare might be prevented or contained. However, I never heard from them again. What's particularly concerning is that this isn't merely theoretically, it's happening on a large scale for beneficial purposes. Genetic modification is used to clean up oil spills, produce medicines like insulin, capture CO2 from the atmosphere, and even biofortify crops, like rice, with vitamin A. Yet it only takes one individual with malicious intent to cause widespread harm. Bill Gates has voiced concerns about these issues, and I believe more people should join the conversation. While we may not be able to prevent these technologies from being misused, we can implement robust containment protocols. When I consider the measures necessary to manage potential outbreaks and prevent infected individuals from escaping containment zones, it evokes images reminiscent of disaster films. Furthermore, where do infected individuals typically go? To the hospital, a font filled with patients who already have weakened immune systems. This environment becomes a breeding ground for antibiotic-resistant bacteria, which often acquire their resistance through horizontal gene transfer. In essence, hospitals can function as large petri dishes for the propagation of such threats. Number 15. Vacuum decay. Entropy governs the universe, driving matter toward its lowest energy state. This concept explains why batteries die, cold beverages heat over time, and why motion eventually ceases. The universe is currently striving for equilibrium, but there's a hypothesis suggesting that our current low energy state might not be the ultimate one. Instead, it could be situated near a bump that leads to an even lower state. This means that particles could be just a quantum tunneling event away from triggering a vacuum decay. Why is this significant? If this phenomenon occurs, it could initiate a cascade effect traveling through space, annihilating everything in its path and potentially replacing our physical laws with new ones, as the constants would change. The unsettling part is that we wouldn't know it was happening until it was far too late. Strange matter. Similar to vacuum decay, strange matter could emerge from the extreme conditions inside neutron stars. When particles are compressed to the point where regular quarks up, down, etc., fuse into strange quarks, physicists hypothesize that this new matter could be more stable than conventional quarks. This transition could create a cascade that transforms everything it encounters into strange matter, for which we currently lack comprehensive knowledge regarding its properties. Supernova and gamma-ray bursts. Any supernova occurring within 1,000 light-years could significantly damage Earth's atmosphere. Even more concerning are gamma-ray bursts, which are faster and more catastrophic. With over 3 million stars located within that distance from our solar system, the potential for dangerous cosmic events is a pressing concern. Human impact on climate. We have likely passed the point of no return concerning climate change. While extinction from this issue may not be imminent, the coming decades will present severe challenges for our planet's biomes. Biologists refer to this crisis as the sixth mass extinction, or Anthropocene extinction, highlighting that human activities are driving this trend. Currently, species are vanishing at a rate 100 to 1,000 times higher than normal, and this number is expected to rise as climate conditions become increasingly extreme. Space's vastness. The enormity of space complicates our ability to locate celestial bodies. Stellar black holes are particularly elusive. They are relatively small and difficult to detect unless they interact with surrounding matter. Some models suggest that tens of thousands of black holes may be lurking undetected within our galaxy. Blue ice. Blue ice refers to frozen sewage material that leaks from the lavatory waste systems of commercial aircraft during flight. If it falls to the ground, it can cause significant damage to roofs or even harm individuals. It's a startling thought that you could be walking down the street one moment and, in the next, be struck by frozen sewage. That is all for today. If you have enjoyed this video, do like and subscribe and let me know below of your thoughts. If you want to help in my dad's fundraiser, I would truly appreciate it. I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. You can also check my other videos on screen.